ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति Chapter 5, the vital role of the intellect. Intellect is the ability to discern rightly, to distinguish rightly. That is intellect. The ability to see things with clarity is intellect. Opposite of intellect is the mind, which we have been studying. Opposite of intellect is the mind and the consequences of the unguided mind. When we say mind, obviously what it means is unguided. When we say emotions, what obviously it means is unguided. The moment emotions are guided, there's no problem. So emotions, whenever we talk about emotions, it is implied that it is the emotion that is not unguided emotions, not guided. It can be an unguided good emotion or it can be unguided bad emotion. Doesn't make any difference. Nevertheless, emotions by nature will be unguided. Second, it cannot regulate itself. It's not a self-regulatory mechanism. Emotions cannot handle itself. Emotions cannot regulate itself. If emotions can regulate itself, you don't need anything from the outside. It can take care of itself. So emotions by nature is unguided and it cannot self-regulate itself. Therefore, something from out, something which is distinct and different from the mind must guide the mind. That entity that guides the mind, that instrument is known as intellect. That instrument is known as intellect. Impartial observer and impartial understanding of things is intellect. Emotions makes you partial. Partial means emotion always keeps you at the emotion keeps you at the center all the time. You are the center for as far as your emotions are concerned. Who's the center as far as your emotions are concerned? You. That's all. Nobody from outside matters other than you, isn't it? In our story, who is the hero? Always. You are the hero in your story. Everything will revolve around you only, isn't it? Whatsoever the hero does is correct, isn't it? Even if he is insulting, it is. If the hero is insulting, it is correct. If anybody else does it, it's wrong. That's how we create stories, no? Isn't it? Whatever the hero in that movie does is he can absolutely insult, he can absolutely cheat, he can do anything and everything, but if he does, that's correct, sir. If anybody else were to do the same thing, it is injustice, it is, isn't it? So emotions keeps itself as the center, and it is always the hero in its creation. It means it keeps itself as the central point. This way of functioning keeps you in perpetual conflict. This way of living life, what will happen to that human being? If you are living life with this, you will be in perpetual conflict. Even if you have to live with Lord Krishna, you will end up fighting with Lord Krishna also. Because even poor Krishna can't unsave you. Even if you were to live with Rama, that Rama also will look like Ravanatha. Because you keep yourself as the center. That's the nature of emotion. You can emotion means self-pampering mechanism. That's what emotion is. Emotion is always looking for. Emotion constantly looks for what? Attention seeking, pampering. That's all emotions. Under all circumstances, attention will be upon itself, and it always seeks pampering. That's all emotions, isn't it? Even if you go to a wedding, also you will seek attention. No, even in a wedding, the attention should not be on the couples getting married. Even in a wedding, where should be the attention? On you, isn't it? That's why you say after coming back from the wedding, I will never again go there. Why? Because they don't know how to, respect her. They didn't pay attention to you, isn't it? So, you go to a wedding, the attention should be on you. Okay, you go to a funeral. What is the central point of attention in a funeral? The central point of attention in a funeral is what? The person who died, no? Emotion will want attention there also. Wherever irrespective of the circumstance, irrespective of the situation, irrespective of anything and everything, the focus should be on me. This is called emotion, unguided. Intellect comes and says, you cannot live life like this. You cannot live life. No, I will continue to live life like this only. Correct. If you choose to continue to live life like this, accept misery as be happy with misery. Be happy, miserable. If you say, no, I don't want to be miserable, then you have to change. What is the change? The intellect must start guiding the emotions. Intellect guides the emotion. What guides the intellect? The scriptures guide the intellect. That sequence we have studied already. It is intellect that guides the mind, emotions, and actions. What guides the intellect? The Shastras. So intellect has to guide three things. Intellect has to guide intelligence. Intellect has to guide emotions. Intellect has to guide actions. If intellect is not there to guide these three, all these three can become destructive. Again, I repeat. Intellect is needed to guide three things. The first thing that intellect is needed is to guide your intelligence. If intellect is not guiding your intelligence, you become you become wicked, manipulative. You can easily manipulate the destructive force. You follow? Intellect should guide intelligence. Intellect should guide emotion, and intellect should guide action. It means intelligence, emotion, and action cannot do anything to the intellect. If intellect has to guide these three, a combination of these three is not a strong intellect. Then what is intellect? That which is strengthened by the study of the Shastras. What you don't understand is deadly combination, these three. What are the deadly combination? Intelligence plus unguided intelligence plus unguided emotion, making choices. That's devastation. What is the devastation of a human being? Intelligence plus unguided emotions. When it makes choices, what will be the consequence? What will be the consequence? Disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Look at the power of these three. Tragedies, we don't understand the power of these three because we have seen this any number of times. The paradox of life. What is the paradox of life? Who understands the power of these three? One who has mastered these three understands the power of these three. One who is a victim of these three will never understand it. That's the paradox. So again, புரியுதா? இந்த மூணுத்தினுடைய whoever has mastered these three understands the devastating nature of these three. If anybody is a victim of these three, one who's a victim of these three will not understand the power of these three. This is the paradox of life. Who understands the importance of education, uneducated or educated? Who knows the importance of education, educated or uneducated? Logically speaking, uneducated. Paradox of life says educated, isn't it? It is educated who understands the importance of education and blow their lungs out to the uneducated. The uneducated will say, we can survive. Isn't it? The uneducated will say, it's not all that important because even without it, I can survive. The educated will tell you what? What will the educated tell you? You cannot survive without it. You cannot live without it. You cannot survive without it. The entire humanity will turn back and say, no, sir, it's not needed. Because even without it, we have been surviving for so long. No. Even without it, we have been surviving for so long. It means, what can you tell them? Paradox of life. Who understands the importance of education? The educated. Who understands the importance of intellect? The one who has it. Who understands the importance of cleanliness? The unclean or the clean one? Who knows the value of cleanliness? The unclean one or the clean ones? Huh? Logically unclean. But it doesn't work like that. Paradox. What is a paradox? It is the clean that get into OCDs, no? Yeah, clean people will get into OCD. Unclean people will have no. They will say, oh, everything is all right. What is the problem? Nothing is isn't it? In every facet of life, this paradox functions. Are you able to follow? It's very லாஜிக்குக்கும் பாரடாக்ஸுக்கும் சம்பந்தமே இல்லை. No connection at all between the logic and the reality. If logic is the reality, paradox cannot exist. But the reality of life is paradox, isn't it? Another paradox. Amritam and Visham, 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's a paradox, no? 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he says, that which is beneficial to you is poisonous in the beginning. That which is detrimental to you is very pleasant in the beginning. பார்த்தோன்னே ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு சார்னா what does it mean? Just saw it, just got blown away by it. Correct. You will be blown into pieces by it. Why? Because it's a paradox. It's a paradox. In the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Amritam and Visham. That which is beneficial to you is very painful very unpleasant and painful in the beginning. That which is detrimental to you is very pleasant in the beginning. What does the mind like? What will the mind like now? Pleasant or the unpleasant? Distraction, நாளைக்கு தானே சார். Distraction tomorrow, no. As long as I'm happy now, உங்களுக்கு என்ன stomach burning? Yeah. Why is your stomach burning? Why that's it? Why you can't be happy at our happiness, no, sir? You follow? It's a paradox. Similarly, the one who's a victim of the emotions can never understand the importance of the intellect. That's why almost impossible is this communication. Because the one who's a victim of emotion cannot understand. The one who has understood doesn't need any education. Then who are we talking to? Who are we talking to? That's another paradox. Nevertheless, the vital role of the intellect, the vital role of the intellect comes in where intelligence, if intelligence is not guided, it will be exploited. If intelligence is not guided, it will turn exploited. It turns cunning. Intelligence is cunning. Intelligence is wicked. Intelligence is manipulative, exploitative. That is intelligence. Intellect will reign this nature of intelligence. Then comes emotions. All that we have seen already. Emotions we have seen already in the previous chapter. The mind wreaks havoc. That we have seen. Choices, we need not talk about it at all. Meaning, choices are already made a lot. Choices are already made a lot. If you go on talking like this, sir, where is joy in life? Where does happiness come? Where does enjoyment come? Where does bliss come in life? The real bliss, the authentic bliss, the original bliss comes only when these three are guided. As long as these three are unguided, what you are experiencing is not happiness. It is suffering masked as happiness. It is suffering appearing to be. That's why it goes away. The happiness goes away very fast. The suffering that it leaves behind lasts for a long period of time. The EMI madri. It's like EMIs. The joy of the car is lost in You buy a new car, how long will the joy last? Hmm? How long will it last? Next morning, 50% is gone. You know that, no? 50% of the joy content is gone. 1 week later, 2 weeks later, but EMIs continue. It is like that. The pleasure that it gives versus the, the pain that it leaves behind. Intellect says penetrating capacity. Penetrating. Mind will not accept it. Mind will say, after listening to the entire lectures, famous Ramatirtha's example, after listening to the entire discourse, it will ask, where is my bone? You are giving a 1 hour discourse on the futility of bone to the dog. It listens to the entire lectures, it appreciates it, everything it does. As soon as the lecture is over, it will turn back and ask. In the question, first question, where is my bone? 1 hour of, I appreciated it. No, that's all. That doesn't mean I'm going to change. Appreciating the knowledge is not, don't expect me to change. I appreciate it. The vital role of the intellect. You follow? The very basic primary function of the intellect is right assessment. What is the basic primary function of the intellect? Is to assess rightly. In order to assess rightly, you need to know what it is made up of. Then only you can assess rightly. Correct? Again, I repeat. The very basic function of the intellect is to make the right assessment. In order to make the right assessment, you should know what it is made up of objectively. Objectively, if you see it, you can make the right assessment. But you don't see it objectively. You see it under the influence of emotion. Emotion na enna artham? Emotion we keep justifying it. Emotion means what? Like, எனக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்குது சார், அவ்வளவுதான். Emotion means like. I like it. Now what? Or I dislike it. Now what? Both doesn't make you to assess rightly. Now, what is right? How do you assess rightly? If you have to assess rightly, you need to know what it is made up of. Correct? Will you make the choice and assess, or assess and make the choice? Logically speaking, double standards. When it comes to others, I will say assess and make the choice. When it comes to me, make the choice under the influence of raga dvesha and then refusing to accept assessment. அப்புறம் கூட அசஸ்மெண்ட் கிடையாது, refusing to accept. Are you able to follow? So it is logically understandable to say you assess and then make a choice. Invariably, how it happens? You make the choice and then refuse to assess. Are you okay till now? First you make the choice, abrama refuse to assess. If anybody makes an assessment for you, you will have if anybody makes an assessment for you, you will say, what will you say? I know what I'm doing. There, you will not, you will make the choice and refuse to assess. If somebody makes an assessment for you, you will say, I know what I'm doing. I'm fully prepared for the consequences, sir. Person is least prepared. You know that, and you can't do anything about it. You have to see the person getting into the fire. You have to see the person getting burnt completely, crying. Helplessly, you sit and watch. Yeah. Helplessly, you sit and watch. If you are not detached, you will also feel the same way. If you are detached, at least you will not feel it. That's the only difference. If you are detached, you will not go through it. If you are attached, what will happen? You will also go through the same. What is assessment? The basic function of the intellect is to assess. You follow? Impartially. Assessment means seeing it as it is. That's called assessment. That's called knowledge. Are you able to follow? Assessment means seeing it as it is. அது இருக்கிற மாதிரி பார்க்குறோம் அவ்வளவுதான். Yeah. Oh no, sir, you should not see it like that. You should be positive in life. You should not see it like this. You should have a positive outlook to life. You should have a positive approach to life. In that positive outlook and in that positive approach to life, you will operate on your likes and dislikes. Are you able to follow? The vital role of the intellect is the very basic elementary function of the intellect is to assess. Seeing it as it is. In relation to other species, we will see it as it is and not have a problem. When it comes to human beings alone, we will have a problem. Will you ever go to a forest and hug the lion and come back saying, wrong, bad lion, sir? Will you come back saying that? You go to the forest, you will hug the lion, and what the lion will do? That also hugs you. Your way of hugging is different. The lion's way of hugging is different. That's all. Both hugging. Now, when you come back, will you say, bad lion? Will you say that? If somebody says bad lion, what will you tell that person? What will you tell that person? Anybody? What will you tell that person? Huh? Correct. You are a mad fellow. You are a mad fellow. You go there, you hug the line. What do you? Correct, no? Intellect functions very well in relation to all other species. Where intellect should function is in relation to our own species. In relation to our own species, only the intellect doesn't function. Assessment. You rightly assess. Out of assessment, you come to a conclusion. Assessment will lead to a conclusion. Assessment will lead to a conclusion. Based on that conclusion, you choose or you don't choose. But emotion makes you to choose first. Why? Because I like. The entire world is making you பார்த்த உடனே பிடிக்கணும். The entire world is making an attempt to deceive. So human beings make all the attempts to deceive whom? Have you ever understood this? All the human beings' effort is attempted at deceiving our own species. That's why it's called makeup, isn't it? You cover it up, you uh, you cover it up and make it look, you look it, you look at it, what should happen? Thinking should not happen. Intellect should not function at all. All human effort is to ensure that intellect doesn't function at all. Therefore, what happens? You cannot see as it is. What is seeing it as it is means? It's a whole lot of knowledge. The gunas, the three gunas, their own package, their own likes and dislikes, their own nature, all put together, you should be able to assess. And then see, this is what it is. I'm okay. Right assessment example, Mandodari. Right assessment example, Mandodari. She never had a problem with Ravana. Mandodari didn't have a problem with Ravana. Sita didn't have a problem with Rama. We have a problem with Namakadam problem, isn't it? Sita didn't have a problem with Rama. Mandodari didn't have a problem with Namakadam problem. Why? Because we have no, out of assessment comes the conclusion. That conclusion is called acceptance. You follow? You assess and then come to the conclusion, and that conclusion is what is known as acceptance. This is the vital role of the intellect. Opposite of assessment is judgment. Judgment means conclusions influenced by your likes and dislikes. It's very obvious. Judgment means conclusions influenced by your likes and dislikes. I like it, therefore it is good. The Deva will look like an Asura, isn't it? The Deva, the God will look like an Asura. Correct. You follow why? That is judgment. At one point of time, you said he is God because like. At another point in time, that God has become a Rakshasa, devil, because you. So this conclusion, which is based on likes and dislikes, is called judgment. On what basis? Why you conclude based on your likes and dislikes? Instant emotions. It cannot have the penetrating vision. You follow? Are you okay till now? Another important area, another important function of the intellect is the capacity to see the cause and effect. If cause and effect were to happen instantly, no problem at all. Again, I repeat, another important function of the intellect is the ability to correlate cause and effect rightly. Most of the time, that we cannot do it because the time between cause and effect is so large that you have to imagine your own causes. If cause and effect were to happen instantly, what is instant cause and effect? Example of instant cause and effect? Ganesh, correct. Nerupla kai vecha, if you put your finger in the fire, effect is immediate. You understand? Supposing you put your finger in the fire today, it will burn you 10 years later. Now, how can you even correlate the both? How can you even connect the both? You follow? The second important aspect of intellect is the ability to understand the cause and effect. This ability is called understanding life, understanding karma, understanding law of karma. If you don't understand it, if you don't have this penetrating vision, you will be very superficial. A person who doesn't understand cause and effect becomes very, very superficial. You follow? When you see somebody suffering, so superficially you get excited by that suffering. So superficially you get excited by that suffering and you immediately want to do something. Intellect says what? What does intellect say? What does intellect say? That person is suffering because of their own making. That doesn't mean I cannot do anything to help the other. That is intellect. Are you able to follow? Again, otherwise, even our help is so superficial. Weak pity. Pitinale weak da. Weak pity, isn't it? Pity itself is so. You see somebody suffering, you get so superficially carried away by that suffering, and you believe what? You don't understand the cause and effect. Where you don't understand the cause and effect rightly, you will start blaming external factors for the suffering of the other. When you don't understand the law of karma, you will start blaming external factors as the reason for their suffering. And then you want to do something. What is intellect? Law of understanding of law of karma. If somebody is suffering, it is their own making. How cruel it is, how harsh it is. Yeah, how harsh it is. How heartless to say all this. Intellect says understand karma and help. Understand that it's their own making and see if you can do something to help. But you don't, emotions overtake and you start pitying. And pity always, pity nale, big pity. Are you able to follow? These are all the vital role of intellect on a practical sense. Assessment. Intellect, vital role of the intellect comes in the area of assessment. Vital role of the intellect comes in the area of cause and effect. You understand these two, more or less you are saved in life. You understand these two, more or less you are saved in life. You have a stability. That mental stability is required for deeper penetration into questions of life. That is God. Without this mental stability, you can never inquire about God. You can never be interested in God. Or without this mental stability, any inquiry about God will be very superficial, useless. That is where the vital role of the intellect comes in to bring in a mental stability. That mental stability becomes a prerequisite to inquire into the nature of truth, God. You follow? But human beings have misunderstood. You go to God, all your problems will get sorted. Intellect sorts out your problem, then only you can go to God. Sequence Purita, Ravi. God will not sort out your problems. You sort your problems out with your intellect. Then you go to God. God. Then why God? Then why even go to God? It means God you see as a problem solver, isn't it? You will create problems and God will solve it. My job is to create problems, sir. God's job is to keep solving the problems. Right assessment we have, isn't it? I am the problem creator and God is the problem solver. This is the vital role of the intellect. Very important is to know where it comes into play when it comes to assessment, and it comes into play about cause and effect. The third vital role of the intellect is this. Intellect alone can tell you what you see is not what it is. If what you see is what it is, you don't need an intellect. Because you already know it, no? What you see is not what it is. One may smile and smile and smile and yet be a villain. Shakespeare says the person may be smiling and smiling and smiling, and you get so carried away by the smile, and you go and hug the person, and the person is the one who's going to stab you, isn't it? You think this person is going to save your life, that person stabs you on the back. You think that person is going to stab you on the back, that person is ready to save your life. You really don't know how to understand things. Are you able to follow? You think somebody is going to be the savior of your life. That person turns out to be the destroyer of your life. Somebody you think is the destroyer of your life turns out to be the savior of your life. Correct? Correct. Huh? Example? Example? All parents appear as fill in the blanks. As what? Villains to? Yeah. Their children. Not everybody. Not everybody. Their own child. Others' child. Wow. Others' children are wonderful relationship, isn't it? Their own children. You follow? The benefactor looks like a malefactor. The malefactor looks like the benefactor. It means you don't know how to see what it is. What you see is not what it is. Remember this love. What you see is not. So the vital role of intellect, the three areas. The first area, what? Assessment. Second one is cause and effect. Third one is what you see is not what it is. What you see is not what it is. இவ்வளவுதானா சார்? இவ்வளவுதானா முடிஞ்சுதா? One more, the noblest, the best. இவ்வளோலாம் டெவலப் பண்றது எதுக்கு? All the first three we develop for what? To the fourth one. What is the fourth one? The unseen thread that keeps the unseen string that keeps the beads together. There is an unseen string that keeps the beads together. Sutre manigana iva. That unseen string called dharma, how it keeps the entire thing together. Intellect is needed for, because it's not visible. The beads are visible, isn't it? The flowers are chaotic. There is the string that makes it into a garland, isn't it? There is the string that makes it into a beautiful garland. Similarly, this beautiful thing of life, there is a beautiful harmony in life. There is an extraordinary harmony in life. that extraordinary harmony is maintained by that unseen, that unseen thing. That unseen thing is called dharma. Now, the vital role of intellect. Summarize. First, repeat. I keep forgetting. So randomly, I keep saying something. First thing, intellect is for assessment. Rendavathu, cause and effect. Third, what you see is not what it is. Very elementary, superficial. The real role of the intellect comes in only at the fourth. What is the fourth? The capacity to see the unseen string that is holding the beads together. Everything is held together. The fact that everything is held together means there is something that is unseen that is holding it together. Intellect goes down to that unseen. Intellect goes down to that unseen. When you go down to that unseen, become a spiritual person. You become a spiritual person. You can call religious person, you can call spiritual person, you can call dharmic person, you can call Vedantic person. Any word you use doesn't matter. The fourth vital role of the intellect is to see that, the string. There is that string, unseen it is. There is that unseen thing. It is holding everything. So you see everything held together. You see everything held together. There is a beautiful order. There is a beautiful harmony. Wherever you see an order and harmony, you understand something is holding it together. That factor that holds everything together in harmony, that factor that everything that holds together is called dharma. In the language of intellect, you call it dharma. In the language of emotion, you call it God. Both are one and the same. They will follow. In the language of intellect, you call it karma. In the language of bhakti, in the language of emotion, you call it God. Doesn't matter which word you use, but understand there is something that is holding it together. So that factor that is holding everything together, you prostrate, you go down, and you allow yourself to be guided by that. You allow yourself to be guided by that. Not operating on the deadly combination of intelligence, emotions, and guide. Those two combination guides the actions, the choices. There is this thing, intellect on the one side, and there is this thing, combination of these three on one side. Intellect is so powerless now. The moon thing path one, intellect is collapsed. The strength is the current state of the intellect is so weak, so powerless in front of these three. What can help you to manage these three? Shastra comes and says, the Vedanta, the Vedas, the Shastras comes and says, don't worry. How much ever these three can be overpowering, it can never overpower the truth. Shastra says, powerful. Let it be as powerful as Ravana also. Doesn't matter. Satyameva jayate nanritam satyena panta vidado devayanaka. Mundakopanishad. The Mundakopanishad says, Satyameva, truth alone prevails. Satyam. What is Satyam? That dharma is satyam. That what you see is not what it is satyam. Karma is satyam. Everything has to be rightly understood is satyam. Are you able to follow? This is satyam, and this satyam should guide you. This satyam makes the intellect strong, and this intellect gets this satyam guides the intellect. Till the time the intellect becomes strong, what do you have to do? It looks like Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapatyate. Text in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante. What will be? What is our choice? What is it that we can? What is it that we can do? As you are making an effort to understand all this, follow the Shastra, follow the command, follow the temporarily follow the command till you become strong. You can't say I will become strong by doing what I. You can never say I can become strong by doing what I like to do. Don't tell me what to do, what not to do, sir. I don't like to hear that. But I want to be strong. It will never happen. As you are making an effort to strengthen your intellect in the initial stages, temporarily, you need to follow the command of the Shastra. So, temporarily, Shastra becomes an external intellect. Once you have internalized it, it becomes your own. At that time, it's called Buddhi. So, Buddhi and Shastra are. Now, from this, what do you understand? Buddhi and Shastra is one and the same. If it is external, it's called a Shastra. If it is internalized, it's called Buddhi. Again, I repeat. If it is external, it is known as Shastra. If it is digested and internalized, it becomes Buddhi. It means Buddhi and Shastra are one and the same. Till you internalize it, you depend on it as an external agent. Once you have internalized it, you become the embodiment of Shastra. You become the living Shastra. You become the living Shastra. You become the embodiment of Shastra. Then it means you have an intellect. Therefore, in the thing, the vital role of the intellect, yes, it is Shastra that can make the intellect strong. Without the help of the Shastra, you can become intelligent. Without the help of the Shastra, you can be a very intelligent person. That is possible. That's why we go on distinguishing between intelligence and intellect. Intelligence. What is the difference between intelligence? So, whenever from now on, if at all, whenever you hear the word intellect, what you should understand it as? Intellect and the vartha keta, buddhindra vartha keta, what you should understand it as? Huh? Then it has started to function. This is a very important understanding that you need to have as far as the intellect is concerned. Therefore, the vital role of the intellect, how you can rephrase the title? Chapter 5, vital role of the intellect. Based on this understanding, how can you rephrase the title? Correct. Ravi, what happened to him today? Vital role of the intellect means the vital role of the Shastra. For intellect and Shastra is one and the. But this is cheating, sir. We have never heard it like that. No, we never thought. We thought intellect means Shastra, na, vana, something I do, I can just develop intellect. I don't have to come in contact with the Shastras at all. No. Intellect and Shastra are one and the. We'll continue next week.
So there's a question.
Sorry.
So there's a question. Should I put it up?
Yeah, put it up. Put it up. Now that you have told me, put it up. If what you see is not what it is, then how do you see things as they are? Correct. Amit. If what you see is not what it is, then how do you see things as they are? To see things as they are, Amit. To see things as they are, it needs to be revealed rightly. Only when it is revealed rightly, you can see things as they are. For example, in a dark room, nothing is revealed to you. In the dark room, nothing is revealed to you. In a candlelight, something is revealed, partial revelation. In the sunlight, you see it exactly as it is. You follow what I'm saying? So, how do you see as it is? The entire world must be seen through the sunlight. What is seeing the entire world through the sunlight means? Through the eyes of the Shastra. Because Shastra is equated to sunlight. When the entire world is seen in the light of the Shastra, you see it as it is. If you don't see the entire creation through the sunlight, but if you will see it either through the candlelight or darkness. Both doesn't reveal it as you follow the difference. So, how does things get revealed? That's the Gayatri mantra. Dhiyo yona prachodaya. Dhiyo yona prachodaya. The essence of the Vedas, they say, most potent mantra, the most powerful mantra, the power of all the Vedas is packed in that. What is the power of the Vedas? It reveals it exactly like sunlight reveals. The entire creation will be revealed. How it will reveal? It will reveal as it is. In order to understand the world, your intelligence is not the authority. Your senses is not the authority. As long as you keep your senses and your intelligence and the human wisdom as the authority, it will not be revealed as it is. WhatsApp forward, Facebook posting Allah doesn't reveal it as it is. Then what it reveals it as it is? And when Shastras reveals it as it is, mind will resist it. You follow, Amit? So when the entire creation is seen through the eyes of the Shastra, then only it is revealed rightly. But we don't see it through the light of the Shastra. We see it through our own light. What does our own light means? Ignorance. Our own light is nothing but ignorance. Our own light nal innartham. Darkness, ignorance. And what is the darkness and ignorance made up of? Likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha. So when you see the creation through raga, dvesha, it doesn't reveal it as it is. When you see the creation through the eyes of the Shastra, it reveals it. So in all these classrooms, welcome to the classes, Amit. In all these classrooms, what will happen? Every classroom, we are trying to reveal something. Hopefully expecting something will get revealed. Not to disappoint you, Amit, nothing is being revealed till now. Hopefully one day it will. Okay. With this we conclude. We continue.